It's been 13 years. What took so long, man?
Make sure before you get into opening a restaurant that you understand not just operations, but you understand how to sign a good lease, that you understand insurance, banking, PR, marketing, branding, some sort of IT, accounting, payroll.
What do you think is the next hot city to be in street side?
We feel that Miami is still very much saturated.
So you think there's more blood coming?
We're all fighting for the same population in Miami. It was 9 years, basically.
How do you stay involved, engaged when a process takes so long?
A legacy property or, a landmark property.
How'd you get started in the hospitality business? Because I know you from having a finance background, no?
When one day out of the blue, I get a call from a guy that I used to work with, and he said, hey, I was looking for a CFO. Would you mind going and interview with him?
Awesome. And you?
In 2007, that I was offered a position as a CFO of a company called Areas USA that operates restaurants in airports. I learned and fell in love with restaurants and concessions is what they call it.
If somebody was starting out today, opening up a restaurant, what's one piece of advice you would give them? Welcome back for another edition of Industry Talks Hospitality Podcast. I'm your host, Emi Guerra, and today I'm here with really good friends of mine, Ignacio, I call him Iggy, and Francesco, two guys that are very successful and are the owners of Grow Bay Hospitality and Investment Groups, and they're guys that we work along with and we know and respect very well, and they're pillars in the community, and I'm excited to have them on the show. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thank you for having us, Emmy.
Awesome.
Appreciate it, yeah.
How'd you like my intro? Did I screw that one up?
No, you did great.
That was good?
Great.
Okay, good.
Like a pro.
We'll dig right into this. Obviously, we go way back. Some of these questions I know, but I just kind of want to just dive into it so we can start talking. I wish we would have recorded the last 15 minutes of what we were talking about.
We can do it all over again if you want. Sorry.
We can talk about the pranks later for sure. Listen, how'd you get started in the hospitality business? Because I know you from having a finance background, no?
Accounting, yeah.
Accounting?
Both of us have an accounting
you go
background.
first.
Wait, you both have okay.
Yeah, we both have an accounting background. So how do we get into it? So I started accounting up at UF. I did my master of accounting at FIU, and I started with one of the public accounting firms called Deloitte & Touche. And I was going down that path. I was happy, not really thinking about anything else, when one day out of the blue, I get a call from a guy that I used to work with, and he said, hey, Don Shula is looking for a CFO. Would you mind going and interview with him? And I was like, oh, Ray, I'm not sure. I just got into this new job. Let me think about it, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. And that night, Dave Shula, Don Shula's oldest son, who was now running the family business, gives me a call, completely out of the blue. Now, mind you, I remember as a kid watching Dave Shula coach under his dad, and then he coached under Jimmy Johnson in Dallas, and then he was a head coach for the Bengals for a few years before he went to go run the family business. So I got a call from this guy out of the blue. He's like, hey, I got your name from Ray. Would you mind coming in and talking to my dad and I? And I was like, okay. So imagine,
My arm.
we're all, Miami born and raised kids. So, Coach Shula is a big idol, was a big idol here. So I go to the interview. It's Coach Shula and Dave. It's a Super Bowl trophies. It's a Hall of Fame jacket. And it took me about 3 seconds to say, I'll take the job. But once I took the job, I didn't, I'm like, shoot, I don't know anything about this industry. I understand business, I understand accounting and finance. But as I got into it, I really realized that my personal passion, which was eating out and experiences and traveling, and on my job sort of became the same thing. So I became really passionate about the industry. And this is going back 20 years ago. So I did everything I could to learn everything about the business, seminars and books and webinars and conferences and just talking to people and just really immerse myself in trying to learn it. So I sort of did it backwards. Most people come from operations and then they own a restaurant, or, we did it the other way. We're business people, and then we sort of learn the operations after the fact.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you?
Well, a little different, but similar in the same way. I'm also CPA, studied accounting with this guy in UF.
You're a Gator?
I'm a Gator. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh.
I didn't know that. My wife's a Gator.
Is that okay?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I am too, by the way.
Yeah, by the way, he's Your wife's
We always hung out together when we were in FIU.
FIU, right? We did our masters in FIU.
There you go.
You see us down on the breaks, but we're up at FIU, at a UF.
Got it. That's what it was.
So whatever. I also studied accounting, CPA, similar track. I went to Ernst & Young. Did not like what I was doing, wasn't very motivated by it, but I found a department within E&Y that kept me there for about 7 or 8 years in the public accounting world, which was fraud investigations, insurance work, and that kind of stuff. But I was always, since high
Holy
school, I was always a serial entrepreneur. Like I always wanted to own my own business. I just didn't know in what. My father always told me to keep my eyes open for opportunities to present themselves to me that I may not have thought about as a business that I could get involved with. And it was that in 2007 that I was offered a position as a CFO of a company called Areas USA that operates restaurants in airports. So
wow.
I learned and fell in love with two industries at the same time, which was restaurants and concessions is what they call it for airports. So and after 2.5 years being there, I realized that I was passionate about that. It just so happened that he was also in his career as CFO of Shula's, and we were connecting the dots a little bit on the hospitality side. And then we decided to open our first restaurant, which was our franchise with Shula's, where I decided to leave and go on my own. And so it was really the hospitality industry in my mind kind of chose me as I was looking for something to do all my life.
So wait, the first project you guys did together was Shula's.
Well, Shula's,
Yep.
which was in this location 15 years ago.
Right.
And this location today is, Beauty and the Butcher, but we originally opened in 2010 under a Shula's franchise.
I remember coming.
Yeah, we had a 10-year franchise basically, and after the franchise was done, we kind of went month to month and then decided we wanted to do our own thing, which is what we were already doing a lot around Miami. And so we created Beauty and the Butcher.
That's amazing. Well, by the way, we'll I mean, you just brought up Beauty and the Butcher. I mean, this place is pretty rad. It's slamming right now. What's your favorite thing to eat here? What is the most popular thing to eat here?
One of the most popular things. So we have a very good bar happy hour menu. One of the things we wanted to do is really make it a meeting place, for all the locals, and pack this beautiful bar. So the $12 smashburger, 2 patties during the happy hour is very, very popular.
Dude, that's actually a great price for a smashburger.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, you can eat at McDonald's for that, nowadays.
Yeah,
So.
I think the location's kind of proven itself over time to become that neighborhood place. This is
Shula's was here. It had a great run.
Had a 11-year run before this, and now we're 5 years into. We have another hopefully 10 years here. But yeah, it's become a neighborhood staple, and when you think about where we're located here, when you say Coral Gables, it's technically across from South Miami, next to unincorporated Dade. When you think of Gables, you think of Geralda and those kind of areas, but we're very much in Coral Gables, and part of Miami that a lot of people, when they think of Miami, which they think of Miami Beach, this is the suburbs of Miami. This is where we live, right? This is where some of us work and stuff. So it really serves the neighborhood, and it's proven itself over time. So people love it. So
what was your biggest challenge did you finish your franchise agreement with Shula's and then go month to month is it that what you said, or did you break it early, or did you find that the franchising game is profitable?
Yeah, it was
like in a full service restaurant.
It served our purpose when we first did it, right? Because again, like Ignacio said, like Iggy said, we did this backwards, right? We're finance guys, we're accountant guys, we're business guys, and we learned the business first, and then learned the operations and the culinary and all that. And going with a franchise model gave us that opportunity to learn the operating side. So it filled a void that we had in the very beginning. But after that, we knew we wanted to do our own thing.
Well, then you guys exploded after that, because you have, how many places you have now? You guys have like 2 dozen places. I mean,
well, between airports and street side, we're probably in 24, 25.
24 right now, and by the end of next year, 27.
Jesus, that's a lot of places.
Points of sale, yeah. But street side restaurants, 7.
Got it.
Including Vegas, and then the balance is in airports.
That's a pretty big company. You guys are co-CEOs and co-founders. How do you, when there's 2 people that are steering the ship, how do you who's the tiebreaker?
Well, we have a third partner who's not here right now, but he's sometimes the tiebreaker. But go ahead.
Just arm wrestle. Yeah.
I've had to work out a little. I still lose, but
I know you guys.
It's a valid question.
Yeah, it's a great point.
It's a valid question, and people ask that because I think this setup probably doesn't work out most of the time. I think
No,
but we've been friends for 35 years since high school, and we've been business partners for 15 years. And I think we've maybe disagreed like 2 or 3 times, and these are pretty much minor disagreements. I don't think we've ever got into an argument. And I think the way that we approach any issue is whoever feels more strongly about the issue, or really is more passionate about going a certain direction. If the other one doesn't feel strongly, we go with that. And And that's sort of, there's always one that feels really strongly about, you know, let's do it
Certain
like
things.
this. And I'm like, okay, so we'll do it like that.
God, you guys don't have an ego at all.
No.
Well,
that-
no. We might, but we'd leave it at the door.
Yeah, you get checked at
Yeah.
the door.
Yeah, no, we don't. We don't let it in. We have very truthful and honest conversations amongst ourselves and our other partner, and that's the way to do it. So
In the path to 27 locations, 24, 27 locations you mentioned, there must have been a few hits that you've taken along the way.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
I think.
I think no path is straight, right? What?
there's no success without failures. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What is one failure that is kind of your favorite?
We are blessed that we've had a lot more home runs and triples and, you know, strikeouts, but for somebody to say that they've never had a strikeout in their journey of a business is not possible. So I think our biggest strikeout would be the Brickell City Center Big Easy that turned into Chi, and you know, we lost quite a bit of money there and a lot of effort. And I think the lesson we learned from that that we'll never do again is that we signed that lease based on our floor plan, because Brickell City Center was under construction. So we picked a location that we thought for sure, because it was the closest to Brickell, that the foot traffic would be through there. It only made sense. But sure enough, a floor plan is just a floor plan. Once Brickell City Center was built, the traffic of the cost, you know, the customers was completely different.
The flow was
and
different.
the flow was completely different, and it was not where we were at. And even though we changed the concept and we tried different things, we couldn't overcome that. I mean,
Yeah.
it was possible.
It was
to
tough.
overcome.
It was tough. We collabed on that.
Also, the rent was very high as well.
And the rent was very high, yeah.
So you kind of you trust a little bit about what they're telling you in terms of what the plans are for the future locations that are surrounding the location, and you rely on that, you know. And so I think lesson learned there. We'll probably never do another restaurant off of paper for sure.
Off of it, you would want to see at least what the mall or the foot traffic is first.
No
right?
doubt. Yeah.
If the restaurant has to rely on the foot traffic
Right.
of a mall or something, you know, you want to see it. You know, and you know, even in airports, it's the same thing. You know, whenever it's the same thing when they're building a new terminal, they're like, okay, it's a new terminal, it's 6 F&B locations, and it's like, okay, but how many airlines are going there? How many
airline?
enplanements
Yeah.
are going there? You don't know. So, you know, you are taking a risk. Whereas if you go into an existing, you know, location or an existing terminal, you know exactly what it is. So you know, it's the same thing.
Do you know, you have multiple locations. You have some that are more off the beaten path and some that are on Main and Main. Which do you prefer?
I'll take Main and Main.
Main and main all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're willing to pay the extra rent for Main and Main.
Yes.
Or
yes.
negotiate the best rent possible, but Main and Main is the way to go, for sure.
I guess.
Well, I think that a lot of things that maybe aren't as fun looking at setting up a restaurant are just as important as the fun stuff, right? The fun stuff are the menu, the tasting, the cocktail development, the design, right? All that stuff. But the unfun stuff is access, you know, parking, visibility, your lease terms. All those things are very, very important. And if you're in a Main and Main location, obviously your likelihood of success are a little higher. Obviously, Bayshore Club is a perfect example of that. You know, being on the water, beautiful location, Regatta right next door.
yeah.
But that doesn't mean you should rest on the laurels of the location. You should do a dynamite menu, a dynamite cocktail program, music, you know, live music wherever you know when you can. So that's why.
You just brought up Bayshore Club. That I remember seeing something from you. It was like, dude, I got deal fatigue. It's been 13. It's been 13 years.
That's a great term.
what
We have
took
deal
so long,
fatigue
man?
too.
Oh man, what took so long?
Well, so a lot. I mean, I'll try to give you a 1 minute. Do you mind?
No,
I'll
no,
just
go
jump
for
in.
it, go for it.
I'll try to give you the 1
It's
minute.
an exhausting
Like on
process.
Netflix, like 1 minute, 3 seasons in 1 minute, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the city put out an RFP originally in 2010 or 11, I believe, and then they scrapped it, and then they put out another one in late 2012. We bid on that one. That one was for all 7 acres. It included 3 restaurants, a marina, retail store, etc. So the whole bid process was about a year, right? But even after you won, then since it's on the water, the Miami Charter requires it to go to referendum, which means the citizens of Miami had to vote for the project. Luckily, they voted 63% in favor of the project. But then after that, unfortunately, because of competition, surroundings, whatnot, there were lawsuits that were filed against the city of Miami for whatever reasons they could come up with to delay the process. That added 2 or 3 years. The complexity of that project involved I don't know how many different departments from the city to the county to the state, even to the federal government, in terms of you got the Army Corps of Engineers as it relates to the water. You got the Historical Preservation Board as it relates to the hangars. You've got obviously the building departments of the city of Miami of unincorporated day. So it was 9 years basically almost to the day.
And then COVID was also in between.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Forgot about the pandemic.
Yeah. No,
You know,
That shut everything down for like 6 months.
that added probably another 2 or 3 years net to the whole equation. So, we took over the space in November of 2013. What Scotty's used to be, and we converted to Grove Bay Grill and operated for a couple years. But to the day that we took over, to the day that we opened, it was 9 years, almost to the day we opened in July of 2022.
9 years.
9 years.
So I exaggerated when I said it was 13, but still 9 years is a lot.
No, yeah. Well,
it's
13
way
if
too
you
long.
include the previous RFP.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we have been talking about it before then. So, yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts.
How do you stay involved, engaged when a process takes so long? I can imagine there's a lot of
You
moments
sort of,
of like, I can't do this anymore.
Because a good 6 months went by, or a long time went by, and nothing happens because it's stuck. Like you said, it was stuck in the courts for a little while. So you go and you sort of forget about it for a little while, and you're like, and then it's like, oh, the city won this next trial, so we can move forward. Like, oh, okay, now it's go back, and now we get stuck by something else, by a permit or whatever. So now you're stuck another 6 months. So it's sort of this wait and go until finally the day came that we have all the permits that we need from all the institutions that needed to provide a permit. It's like, okay, go. We're like, now really is this really a go?
Not to mention Bayshore Club moved, I think, 2 or 3 times from its original location. Because also cost of construction was a consideration.
Change,
design and
COVID,
okay, this looks beautiful.
COVID.
How much does it cost?
Just the icing on the cake at the end.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. So it's been an adventure. Nothing worthwhile doesn't take time. Yeah.
But you know what? I feel like it was. I mean, you guys smashed it when you opened up. Like it.
We had an
It
amazing.
probably felt very gratifying, maybe vindicated, very like
Yes.
you really pushed through and persevered as a team.
We always felt that it was going to do well. Again, we're born and raised in Miami. We know what the Grove means to a lot of the locals. We know how little water, waterfront access there is, to locals to be able to dine by the waterfront. There's
true.
not a lot.
It's crazy.
So we knew that once all these challenges, were behind us, that we would be able to, hit a home run there.
That's awesome. Let me ask you a question. That concept is very concept driven, not necessarily chef driven, but
Yeah.
what you guys are obviously very known for, at least to myself and a lot of the communities, you have some of the most talented chefs that you partner and collaborate with.
Yeah.
What does it take to be a chef? What does it take for a chef to work with you guys? Really? I mean, there's got to be a quality that kind of sticks out that,
I'll let him
that you
answer
look
that
for.
one first,
'cause-
and then I'll say what I think.
Yeah. So I think something that we look for is a chef that understands that a restaurant is also a business. And that's super important, because a lot of chefs look at the restaurant as their art canvas, and they want to do these really expensive menus with 20 ingredients per each menu item. That's super costly. It takes a lot of labor, and the restaurant doesn't make any money.
Yeah.
And they don't care. And there's a lot of those chefs. So finding the right partner of a chef is one that has that skill set to create something beautiful and something amazing, but also understands that a restaurant at the end of the day is a business, And the challenge is, because you don't want to, in the first example, have a chef that's all about the art and really doesn't care about the business, because the restaurant's going to close. But you don't want to, but then on the other part, you don't want to only worry about profit, or, only care about profit, because you're serving probably not a great product, and then the restaurant's going to close.
Yeah.
So the magic is right in the middle.
Right.
Magic spot.
So the magic is right in the middle.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of how do we serve the best possible product, provide the best possible service, but also make it a viable business. And that's the magic. And I'll tell you a story. When we opened Stubborn Seed, that was a very difficult challenge that we were having. Jeremy sort of came from that background of the art canvas, and let's put 50 ingredients in each menu item. And, so we lost money for a good 6, 7, 8 months. And it was, and to his credit, he was willing to listen and open and work with us and trying to keep working at the menu to make it something that could make money, that could be a business. And the interesting thing is that we won the Michelin star there years later with this new menu, or not this new menu, but with this new way of looking at creating a menu. That again, that it's got to be delicious, amazing, but also be profitable. Both.
Got it.
You know.
Got it. Let me ask you a question. You just brought up Michelin star. First of all, that must feel pretty awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Huge honor. Yeah.
Yeah. Does having a Michelin star move the needle on a P&L, or is it just good for bragging rights?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. Both. All of the above.
It does?
Yeah. So our best year at Stubborn Seed was 2022, the year that we won the Michelin star there for the first time, and then we've won it for 4 years in a row. This restaurant, which is on the Michelin Guide, also got a huge bump from, you probably saw the Michelin Guide plaque at the front, and that makes a difference when guests come here and see that, they tell their friends and whatever. So we've had our best months here at Beating the Butcher recently, after we put that plaque up. Yeah. So yeah, I think it does make a big difference.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I don't have any Michelin stars, obviously, but I obviously if you go to a Michelin star thing, it's like, oh wow, that's great. I just didn't know if it's.
Yeah, it definitely helps. It puts you in a different category, of course, and we're honored.
And I think out of we've been blessed to have a lot of accomplishments, and been lucky to do a lot of fun things. But I think that's one of the accomplishments that we're the most proud of. Not having just one location. We have Stubborn Seed with the star. We have Beating the Butchers on the Guide, but then we also had Red Rooster that was on the Guide, and also won a Michelin bib gourmand. So we had 3 locations that were recognized by the Michelin Guide in one form or another. And I think that's the most in the state of Florida. I think there's one other group that has that many, but that's something that's like, that we look at each other like, wow, that's cool, right? Yeah.
I'm pretty happy that they finally came down to Florida.
Oh, huge. Yeah.
And
yeah, of course.
Miami.
They only recognized, I think, 7 cities around the country until they finally opened up Miami. And now they're apparently going into South and North Carolina and Tennessee and things. So they're expanding.
There's some pretty good stuff in the
it's
Carolinas.
great.
I heard Charleston is pretty awesome.
Coincidentally, we teamed up with a 5-time semifinalist, James Beard nominated chef, to create a chef-driven concept in an airport in Raleigh, Durham. And he just told us that he was contacted by Michelin. So for 3 of his 4 restaurants. So it's happening over there too. So it's exciting stuff. It's great.
Let me ask you a question. You've now brought up airports a couple of times talking about it. No, and it talk to me about that. How do you love it? Is it?
It's a different animal.
It must be different, right?
Yeah, it's a different animal.
I'm sure there's security clearances, things like that.
Oh yeah,
back and forth, ops of it.
Yeah, from an operational standpoint, it's definitely different to operate in an airport. You got to have that sort of know-how and experience. There's no rocket science behind it, but at the same time, it is different operating in an airport environment than street side. There's certain advantages, right, to operating in airports. Obviously, you don't have to market your restaurant, right? There's a captured audience there, so your concept just has to be on point, right? And your menu has to be on point. But then there's other differences and challenges that people don't eat the same way in an airport that they do street side, right? They don't order appetizer, entree, dessert.
It's quick running.
They don't order bottles of wine, right? So your menu has to be thought about those things a little bit more creatively in order to maximize sales, and also ticket times are incredibly important in an airport space versus a street side restaurant where we want to provide an experience in an airport environment, but the experience that you're having street side can last an hour and a half. You can't do that in an airport, right? You need to be in and out between 20 and 40 minutes, depending on what people are looking for. So, it's very interesting working in airports.
Yeah, I remember trying to call you for a few things, and you're just traveling all over the country. So I'm imagining there's a lot of travel.
The last 3-4 years, we've kind of blown up in the airport space. It takes a lot. I tell my wife all the time, whenever someone says that they're opening a restaurant in an airport, they've been working on that anywhere between 3 and 7 years.
Yeah.
It takes that long. That and Bayshore. It takes that long.
Are your airport concepts concept driven or chef driven?
Both.
I think what's changing now in the airport space is that they're going more and more airports are going away from the Chili's and the TGI Fridays and the chains, and they all want to showcase their local talent.
Yeah.
The local chefs, local breweries, local concepts. So that's where we come in, because that's what we do street side. So I think that's what's made us attractive, to airports, that we can say, listen, we have Michelin rated restaurants on the street side, but we also operate in airports. you want for this RFP, for this package, you want a local concept, a local chef, a local brewery. We can create those concepts for you, and we can also operate it. So that's really unique.
Awesome.
A lot of these big operators and airports like Host and they don't do that. That's not the way they do it. They're just too big. They're just plug and play franchises, a Starbucks, a McDonald's, right? So that's where we come in, because we can really, and that's what we did in Raleigh. Going to Francesco's point, we partner with a local James Beard chef, and we created this concept in the airport that you would eat at that restaurant street side, and that's what we want to bring to the airport space. Bring concepts that you would be proud of eating, street side.
Yeah. Well, you obviously work with all these chefs. What is it that you do for them that makes them want to work for you? I asked you what qualities they need to have, but they also have to want to work with you. So what is it that you do differently than let's say other operators that?
I think most chefs don't necessarily like the business part of the business. They enjoy creating.
They're artists.
They're artists,
They're
right?
artists, yeah.
So if a group can come to them and they can say, hey, listen, why don't you do what you do best, which is cooking? Let us handle everything else, and we'll form this partnership. Then it's great. The issue that chefs have is that, as you know, in our industry is full of cowboys, right?
Yeah.
And it's full of people that that may not be the most trustworthy or whatever. So luckily for us as a group, we've developed a good reputation as honest guys.
Mm-hmm.
So from a chef standpoint, if they can trust their partners and handling not just the operations but the money and everything else, then for them that's great.
Yeah, I mean, basically providing the infrastructure for them, the stage, if you will, with the lights and everything working properly.
I mean, I imagine that gives them the opportunity to do what they do best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excel in that.
And feel like they've got a good partner in the game that's going to watch everything else.
You obviously won that Michelin star at Stubborn and Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
Is that because of Michelin and because of the notoriety and Jeremy
so.
and
I think so.
the whole hype?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we were fortunate enough, that we had someone from the executive team visit the restaurant unknowingly, to us. I think it was the son of the chairman of the organization that owns Resorts World, which is the Genting Group.
Yeah.
And he dined with us and had an amazing experience and kind of reported back to the board and the executive team about the concept. And we had some ties to Resorts World, like connection points, but we connected. They reached out. We flew out to see what they were thinking about, and then the rest is history. So it's an exciting project.
From a physical standpoint, is a space similar in size or bigger?
It's a lot bigger.
It's a whole different thing.
So Miami Beach is around 4,000 square feet.
Miami Beach is 2,500.
2,500 square feet, and this is like over 6,000. So it's a lot
Little more
bigger.
than double the size.
The build out was a lot more expensive than Miami Beach. It was,
Well, you have unions you got to do.
in Vegas, you go big or you go home, right? Vegas is, they do everything over the top. So the restaurant it's just a beautiful build out. It's really, really beautiful. But still keeping to the true brand elements, to the true brand points.
The inspiration of the design, the inspiration of the design from Miami Beach was very much well kept in Vegas.
Correct. Yeah.
Its signature window into the kitchen, which, a lot of people talk about open kitchens and et cetera, but what's unique about Stubborn Seed, and a lot of people don't realize it while they're watching the action, is that it's a reverse open kitchen. And what I mean by that is that typically open kitchens have the chef with their back facing the dining room because the expo's in front of them, and then the hot line is in the back, right? So the food's coming out this way, and then the chef is turning around to another table, dressing it up and heading it out, but spends most of his time with his back to you. Here, it's the inverse. So the window is on the back of the hot line. So the hot line is right in front of you. You're seeing fire, you're seeing this, you're seeing cooks cook, right? And then the food is going back to the chef who's facing you.
So does all the grease get on the window? And
no, believe it or not, it doesn't. I mean, we clean the heck out of it every night, right? But and it doesn't get hot because we put I forget what kind of glass we put, but it has a vacuum seal in between and whatever, so it doesn't get hot. But
but we think about it, because if you have guests sitting close by and then the hot line is next to it, it can get hot. So so we got to account for that.
The best seating in that house is the chef's table, which is right in front of the window.
Of it, right?
At least in Miami Beach, is very close. In Vegas, is a little bit further away because it's bigger, but the window's double the size and whatnot. So it's.
How do you balance operating these places, across the country? Like what steps have you taken to make sure you don't lose the efficiencies? with having multiple units across the board. Obviously, I mean, you could obviously just throw more labor and more teams and more and more and more, but at
And
a
it
certain
doesn't
point,
work. Yeah.
at a certain point, there's got to be one trick to being able to operate in multiple cities.
It becomes more challenging the more units we open in, different cities. It is because we can't be everywhere at once. I mean,
Yeah, growing pains are a real thing.
growing pains are a real thing. But it is honestly by, we've been adding to the corporate team because you have to stay connected. So we have marketing visiting, we visit, operations visit, training visit. So on a monthly basis, there's somebody different or from a different, department touching the restaurant, sort of as a quality check. So that's what we keep, making sure that things are staying the way that we like them to be, right? But aside from that, I think something that we've done really well in is keeping all of our processes and all our procedures. They're all in our training platform. It's all web-based. It's all app-based. So all of our employees, no matter what city you're in, they all have access to the same information. They all get trained the same way. And then after that, again, like I said, it's the repeated visits from somebody in our team over and over and over, just to make sure that things are being done, the right way. In Stubborn Seat in Vegas, so that's a 50-50 partnership with the actual hotel.
With the resort.
Hotel,
With
the
a
resort.
Resorts World. So that the positive of that is that we have a ton of support from the in-house
The local team, yeah.
local team there. These guys are very seasoned. The new VP of operations ran all of Bellagio F&B. I mean, these guys are very, very sharp. They're very seasoned. So it's like having one of us on the ground there, And again, they're 50% partners, so they care.
They give us, yeah.
So that's been a nice.
And they leverage, I'm sure, their economies of scale too.
Oh,
For sure.
locally.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. I mean, they have a massive commissary kitchen, for example, that we might use for sauces or something, And so, so there's advantages obviously there besides that, among other things. But
I mean, walking like the underground,
Oh,
it's like
it's
a
like-
city.
it's like
It
a
is.
city. Oh, it's a city.
It is.
It's crazy.
It is.
like
I
our,
can just imagine.
we have wine storage at the restaurant, but I mean, our list is gigantic because there are wine storages on property that's, thousands and thousands of square feet.
Oh my God.
So think about
So
it. You have
you
access
can serve any wine you
within-
want.
Yeah.
within 15 minutes, 20 minutes
Yeah,
to,
you can
to
go get
this
it.
humongous inventory list. It's just downstairs,
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
And just a bank of product.
Yeah.
anything.
Anything.
And,
Anything you
and,
can
and
imagine.
liquor, the most top shelf, anything
Yeah.
you want.
It's
I mean,
good and
it.
bad, right? Because we also work on order guides, for example, like stay within this box in terms of ordering food and whatnot because of the recipes, blah, blah, blah. But then you go down there and it's like,
Heaven.
heaven for any chef, I'm sure.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Imagine the stuff you can test out.
Right.
Gain 100
I'd be like,
pounds.
can we do a tasting again today?
What's with all the cities you have going on, what do you think is the next hot city to be in street side?
There.
I'm saying street side because I also want to know airport wise.
Right.
But
Well, I
Street
think
side.
we're actually looking at something in Raleigh. But Raleigh's a really up and coming, culinary town. And so we're actually looking at something there right now, street side. So I think that's the next up
For
and
us?
coming town. Yeah.
For us, yeah. I think Miami, I don't know if I'm going to answer your question, but I'll just answer it the way I'm thinking about it is we feel that Miami is still very much saturated, and I think that we're still going through a process of oversaturation of restaurants. So, we see a lot of restaurants closing. I think it's not just beginning. I don't want to be doom and gloom, but there is too many restaurants right now,
yeah.
So when I think about whether or not there's a new part of Miami, there are always going to be new up and coming spots. I think when you go into new up and coming spots, it's more challenging, right? Because you kind of destine yourselves to be a destination restaurant because there aren't people there already, right? You got to go there to be there. So I think it's a challenging question. I don't know the answer to that, but I will say that I think that Miami has still a little bit of a settling period to go through for restaurants.
Yeah. Well, so you think there's more blood coming?
I hate to say it that way, yeah, but I mean,
No, I'm just why it is.
I mean, I think so. Unfortunately, I think you might see it more in like chains and things like that you hear about a lot on social media, et cetera. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of we're all fighting for the same population in Miami, right?
Yeah.
And obviously there's tourism, but tourism, the majority of it is in the beach or closest that way, right? When you're in the Brickell or Coconut Grove areas, you're And this area,
There's just so much,
so many options.
so many options. And we were having that conversation the other day too, because it's like we already do 30 to 50,000 people a week through our doors between all our venues in South Florida. Like, if I open up another venue, I'm just going to cannibalize myself.
You're going to dilute, right? Yeah, it's a good.
That's where we're at. We're in the silence of Miami right now. It's sort of a wait and see what happens, because it's kind of a weird.
Well, you have a lot going on still.
Right.
Yeah. So we're sort of focusing on other cities, either airports or street side with Vegas.
Yeah.
And
we've said this before. We don't have a gun to our head to grow. Like, we're growing at our own pace, at our sort of pace that we want. But don't get me wrong. If an opportunity opens up that presents itself with a property that's what we call a legacy property, or a landmark property, like Bayshore Club, then
we can
obviously
jump on that.
we're going to jump on it, right?
But if you look at what happened in Miami, to add to your point, it's been the craziest 5 years.
Dude,
Because obviously
nuts.
COVID,
you kidding me?
COVID was the same for everybody in the country. But what happened? Miami opened really first before
Yeah.
anybody in the United States, before any other country opened, right? So what happened?
Before anybody in the world.
Blew up.
Everybody in the world.
Yeah.
So what happened? Everybody came to Miami. Everybody moved here temporarily, permanently, etc. Miami was packed with people, tourists, new residents, etc. Businesses followed, including restaurants.
Yeah.
So many restaurant groups from New York and other places, right, started opening restaurants here. But the thing is that restaurants take, is a lead time, right? There's a lead time of between 12 and 24 months.
Yeah.
To open a restaurant. So what happened? While all these restaurants were signing leases, COVID was sort of over. After a while, people went back to wherever they were from, and now all these restaurants opened without all that population being here. So now we have an oversaturation of restaurants,
And that stimmy money.
and that city money ended. That's right. So now we're splitting the pie a lot.
Amongst more, yeah.
Almost more slightly. Yeah. So I think there's still a little bit more of a correction to come.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you actually answered my next question. I had there was just this shakeout. It's still shaking out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Have you been able to? Not this one, because obviously Beauty and the Butcher was Shula's and whatnot before this, obviously as a second gen. But have you been able to acquire a second gen and make it work? Yeah. Somebody else's second gen?
Yeah. Stubborn Seed.
Oh, Stubborn Seed.
Stubborn Seed.
Right.
That was a little local Italian restaurant.
Local Italian restaurant, yeah.
Yeah, didn't make it. And so that,
did you find that to be advantageous to do the second gen thing?
It did, because it was very inexpensive to build out. Yeah. And again, we were taking not a risk, but we were doing something new in a new partnership with a new chef, with Jeremy. I'll tell you that story, which is somewhat interesting. So Jeremy had just won Top Chef season 13. Actually, let me back it up. When Top Chef season 13 started, the first episode, I was at home watching it, and he was at home watching it too. And we didn't know we were watching. The next day we get to the office, they're like, did you watch it last night? And he's like, yeah, I did. Did you see that guy win? He's from Miami. Yeah, whatever. Let's call him. And Jeremy
we had just won. We had just won the Coconut Grove project.
Yeah, right.
So
right. And then so then we're like, let's call him. And after watching the first episode of that season, it's like Jeremy had something. He had the it factor. He was dropping F-bombs all over the and all over the show. And it's like, wow, this guy's got
he was very likable. He was charisma on TV. Yeah.
So we called him. He said, yeah, I know who you guys are. Let's meet. We went to lunch. We told him our plan to do a concept at where Bayshore is. And he said, let's do it. Top Chef season 13 finished. He already knew he had won because it's pre-tape, right? He never told us. And we kept asking him. Our deal with him wasn't signed, and they're in the finals with us 3 left. And we're like, did you win? He's like, I did really well. I'm like, what does that mean? 2, 1? And he never told us.
He never
signed
told
the
us,
deal.
yeah.
The whole Regatta project gets delayed, like we talked about earlier. And here we have this Top Chef season 13 winner without a home, right? And we have a partnership.
Oh,
so he's
man.
like, right. So, and he's like, and we're looking, but again, we're pretty conservative and trying to look for spaces. We don't want to jump on anything. And he's like, guys, I'm like, I'm hot now, let's
go.
find something. Let's go.
Let's do
and then the location, the 101 Washington came open, and we're like, it's a pretty good location because right down from Joe's. You know, Prime 112 was down there. All these great, you know, south of Fifth is a really good culinary,
Yeah.
neighborhood.
I mean, some of the best restaurants in the
I mean,
world.
it's a lot of F&B sales in that little.
And-
There's a lot of
strip.
F&B sales, right? And
Yeah.
That
time
1 square mile.
yeah,
Yeah.
that has the most F&B I think of anyone.
I mean, that's
Maybe Vegas Strip is
Right.
this is a high grossing F&B square of.
Right.
Yeah, no, it is. And then so we found that location, and again, it was a good second gen space. It didn't require a lot of money, and we went with it.
Yep.
It didn't get off to a good start because which hurricane was it that hit that week of training?
Hurricane Mary. We opened
It
2
completely
restaurants
flooded
within a
it.
week of each other
Yeah.
after Hurricane Mary hit.
It was a disaster.
So we opened Stiltsville, and then we opened Stubborn Seed a week from each other, a week after the hurricane hit. I don't know if you remember, but that hurricane was odd because it did a lot of it scared a lot of people away. Right, the tourists never came. The power didn't go out, and there was some water damage, but it wasn't crazy. It just freaked everybody out.
Yeah.
So
And
a
so-
brand new restaurant opening,
Yeah,
Top Chef winner.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
nobody in the city.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
4 people
yeah.
at the restaurant.
Come check us out.
Come check us out.
I
Right.
swear we're
It's
good.
almost like, how do you recover
Oh,
from that?
No, yeah.
It took a while.
An opening has
It was
like,
a brutal uphill, but we were like, dude, what are we gonna do? Wait?
Right, because you want to get the press and the PR and
Right.
the hype.
the hype and the momentum from opening to sort of carry you. We had none of that. Zero.
Oh, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, nobody was going out.
So
nobody wanted.
you guys obviously, and he stuck with you guys, and
Yeah.
and you stuck with him.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you plowed through. Especially you said those first 8 months were.
We're tough. Yeah, tough trying to, because we were also doing something that Miami didn't really have a lot of, which is a only tasting menu, right?
Right.
I think
The only other restaurant.
the Brad Kilgore spot at
Alter.
the time, Alter,
Yeah.
was like that, which is since closed. But there's really, Miami wasn't a city that was doing that. You know, so doing that was very risky, and sort of educating the consumer, like, hey, you know, again, if you went to New York and other cities,
Dime a dozen.
that was
tasting
very
menus.
common, but not in Miami at that time.
No.
When you have 7 street side restaurants and you also have 20 airport, let's call it concessions, you're looking at probably almost 1,000 menu items between all of them.
Yeah,
What's your favorite menu item out of all of them?
Jeez. My favorite
that's like
menu.
picking between your kids.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
what's
No,
your
there's
favorite?
gotta be one menu item that's like, oh, I look forward to visiting this place because
Well, you know,
Because-
I have a lot of favorites from Stubborn Seed. The problem there is that Jeremy keeps changing the menu. but if I had to pick one, I mean, I think it would be from Stubborn Seed, and it was a warm celery root dish that he did.
celery root.
Celery root.
I know
warm.
it's weird.
It
but
sounds weird, but it was
it's delicious.
amazing. And you can do an elevated version of it where he carved out the core and put some caviar and a little quail egg in the middle, and it was outstanding. I mean, it was just, you know, it's one of my favorite all time dishes, and I'm only mentioning it because I want you to put it back on the menu. I'm just kidding.
What's yours?
I'm not gonna say it's a dish, but the Stubborn Seed tasting menu,
Yeah.
which changes every week. So they're all A+s almost. But that whole experience of a 7-course or a 10-course meal is my absolute go-to. Or here, if we'd have been the butcher, the tomahawk steak is
The tomahawk.
is
Yeah, it's a great experience.
it's a great experience.
Awesome. It comes out hanging with
On fire,
hanging on fire,
hanging,
the whole
carved table side, served with some sides. I mean, amazing. Yeah,
maybe we could eat one after this.
sure.
Yeah.
Let's get a tomahawk.
No, listen. You know what? Okay, I got a confession. You know what my favorite dish is? You're not gonna believe it. Out of all your places, it's a casual one.
Okay.
There's a green goddess salad that you have that Kenny has at his pop up at Regatta,
At Regatta?
and I get it with the jerk chicken on top,
Oh, wow.
and it's a jerk chicken green goddess salad, and it is my go-to at Regatta when I don't want to be a fat ass and eat Jeremy's.
Yeah.
Tasty
You know,
menu.
Regatta,
DJ
all those
burgers.
pods-
Right, JJ's Burgers.
all those pods, like
Yeah.
each one has, I would say that each one has a classic, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the JJ's Burgers, obviously the burger. At
Yeah.
the Jeff's seafood at Taco Box, I think the shrimp, the lobster roll. Sorry, that's my go-to. For Jose's, any of the pizzas.
Yeah, any of the
are
pizzas
just
are
delicious.
fantastic. Yeah.
Kenny's fried chicken. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone has
They
their,
have their
like
staples, yeah.
Yeah, they
sure.
all
You got to try that
they
one. I
all
haven't tried
crush
that.
it. Speaking of which, now we're talking about Regatta. Hey, did you guys get nervous when Regatta was about to open?
I was-
Originally,
originally, because I got to tell you, everybody that we've opened up next to any one of our large concepts always kind of like freaks out those
Right.
first 60 days or leading up to it.
Yeah.
And then into those first 30 days, it's like tough. But then after they found out that it helped the area, was it?
So, yes,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yes,
yes, I mean, yes.
because you guys do an amazing job.
Yeah.
You know what you guys have done, creating this new segment
Yeah. It's really a new segment. Yeah.
here in Miami. I
segment,
mean,
yeah.
that's you guys have been pioneers in creating this daytime kind of experience, right? And yeah, so we were worried because I know you guys do a lot of volume, and we're doing a lot of volume of Bayshore, but we told ourselves there's no way that it can affect it. It's just no chance. And you guys open, and the most unbelievable thing is that our sales have stayed the same, and you guys have matched or even done a little more than us. So we basically double the sales of that neighborhood. It hasn't affected us at all, which is unbelievable to
I
me.
feel like it helps.
Well, it complements
Yeah,
each other.
each
other.
Now that we see it,
Yeah.
now that we understand
Yeah,
it, it complements one another.
But the
Because
fact that it didn't impact sales at all, nothing,
nothing.
It is
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
is really
may have
something
even
else.
bumped it up a little,
Maybe, yeah.
because I think, again, and now I think it creates even a better experience for coming to that area, right? Like you can have a drink before at Regatta and then have dinner at Bayshore, or do vice versa, dinner and then let's go get some drinks.
That's the
So-
result that we've seen
Yeah.
Across all our portfolio.
And I think we've
places
done a
with
good
the
job
rest-
complementing each other. Like
1,000%.
you guys have DJs, we have live bands, and I think that's obviously important.
And I remember us having that
Paid attention,
conversation in the
of course,
beginning.
yeah.
I didn't write that question down, but that was something that I was like, I wonder if it worried them
Naturally,
too. Like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously it would worry me too.
Naturally,
course it
yeah,
did. Yeah,
naturally, yeah. I mean, you put something next to it
When
with
we-
food, it's going to affect
when
it.
we opened the wharf, I think Garcia's and that whole street also was like, oh man, I don't know. But then
You talk to
people
them
want to go
afterwards?
eat.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know, they say eat twice.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
they'll go eat
Yeah.
at Bayshore, then they'll come by and they'll have some drinks and maybe snack some more,
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
whatever. And it kind of works as a neighborhood. It was weird.
Yeah, your concept, like he said, it's a new market. It's like a new experience. It's a new layer. It's almost like how they call the coffee shop when Starbucks was starting up, they called it the third place. The place in between home and work. So your place is kind of like the going out third place. Like it's like you can be there all night. You can go there for a drink before or after party.
Hey, daytime.
Yeah.
It's really
It's like good anytime. Daytime.
it's almost like
right.
creating your own lane per se, and you're not quite full service restaurant. You're not quite a nightclub. You're not
Correct.
quite,
You can eat there if you're hungry, but
it's
Yeah.
it's kid
I think what's
friendly,
cool
but
about the
also-
entire property is when everything's activated.
yes, with the
With
hanger.
something going on the hangar, and then they finish and they sort of spill out into Bayshore and Regatta, and like the whole thing is just popping. Right?
Talk to you about the hanger. That
Let me tell
hanger,
you
the hanger.
the
crank.
Oh, the
hanger-
hangar cranks.
It's amazing.
Great.
Did you see it during the the Messi experience?
Yeah.
Dude, it was amazing. I mean, they wrapped the
It really helps Bayshore
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
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 Do you guys see traffic from there?
Sometimes
Depending on the
it
event.
depends on the event.
Right.
Like, for example, when you guys had those fight nights
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I came
yeah,
into,
yeah.
we would get some
30,
decent
30
after
bucks.
parties
Yeah.
on a few of those. Sometimes when there's the charitable events, right?
Right.
Those help. We get
Yeah.
some flow over, and I think
Kids.
yeah, we get.
That's
we
happening
get-
this month,
we-
actually.
It just depends on what's going on there. The messy thing, I think that was more daytime, more kids.
Yeah.
I think they all ended up.
Bayshore
they sort.
probably, yeah.
I welcome it.
Yeah.
I think
It
it's
just
I think
activates
it's
the
awesome. But it's
property.
a great that venue, because it is a historic venue. Have you been able to figure out the acoustics inside?
So it's a lot of pipe and drape.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot
honestly,
of
that's
pipe
what it
and drape.
is.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
That's the most you can do with it, because I don't think you're even allowed to spray acoustical, that
Insulation?
foam insulation,
A lot of production needs to go into
because
it
that's part of the
before
historical
event, yeah.
component. Yeah, so it is a little bit of a challenge, but we deal with it.
But we've been doing it now almost 2 years. So we have the right
What's the capacity there?
vendors, the right capacity.
What's the what?
Capacity.
Well, it's 20,000 square feet. I mean, I think
Okay, 2,000 people.
I can only speak from like we've done weddings there that seat 2,000 people. Like it's
awesome.
it's big.
It's decent ceiling height too.
Oh yeah, it's very high.
Yeah.
I'd be lying to tell you what it was, but it's very high. It's very nice.
Changing gears for a second, aside from doing all this stuff, you guys obviously do a lot with the community. And I was reading somewhere that you started a scholarship program at FIU. right?
Yeah.
Grove Bay Foundation.
Yeah, we started a foundation called the Grove Bay Foundation, and so one of our 4 core values is community and giving back to the community. So a few years ago, we're trying to figure out what's the best way to do that, and then we decided, well, let's do something that's related to our industry, and how can we help our industry? Well, our industry has a shortage, and more so at the time, during COVID, definitely has a shortage of people wanting to study culinary, people wanting to study hospitality, and come into our industry. So then we founded this this foundation, and are now providing scholarships to FIU School of Hospitality to basically give full rights to underprivileged kids that couldn't afford to study hospitality, and give them that opportunity. So we sponsor 8 kids every single year, full ride. They have to be a junior, senior, and they have to be in the School of Hospitality.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Have you, how has that, well, I would imagine that you would get exposure within the student body and also within the school. Has that been able to help you guys attract new talent?
Yeah, so
Or
we've actually had 2
more-
people.
yeah.
We've had 2 people, a server at Stubborn Seed, that was a recipient prior to joining us.
Oh, wow.
And then we are somebody in our corporate office, one of our reservations
Team members, yeah.
team members also got it.
I was recently at FIU speaking at the AI conference.
I saw that.
yeah, I
I
saw
saw that. Yeah.
and
That's great.
through the business school, not through the hospitality school, but they have a great hospitality school, and I saw the stuff that you guys did. I saw the stuff that Grutman does. I think that's phenomenal. The fact that you were doing the scholarships too, I think that's pretty cool. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I was
That's
always
it.
ashamed to go back there because I never graduated. So I don't.
Oh, did you?
I don't.
You
I'm
didn't-
sorry. I
I
don't
didn't
mean
know
to talk about myself, but but we're
Did you
just
not?
talking.
thought you
I did.
Oh,
I never graduated, so I went to
Okay,
FIU.
I didn't know that.
When I was 22, I opened up space.
oh wow.
And I was making
Yeah.
phenomenal money. And,
Right.
and it took all my time.
Right,
Yeah,
of
of
course.
course.
No, you don't
So I unlike you guys who are amazing in finance, I failed accounting 4 times because I never went to accounting.
you never showed up to class.
I never showed up to class.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You were in
after
space.
4 semesters of trying to
Right.
like just
Right.
show
You're like,
up,
what am I doing here?
I'm like,
Let me focus
I
on the-
can't.
That's not an easy
But
class
of
either.
course-
yeah,
You gotta show up.
and now I understand it, and
Right.
but yeah. So I was always ashamed to go back into FIU, and when I met with them and sponsored a few things, they're like, well, you're an alumni. You didn't graduate, but you're still an alumni.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can say I'm an alumni.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Dude, you shouldn't be ashamed. You're one of the most successful.
Yeah.
No,
Ask for an honorary degree.
oh no, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You shouldn't be ashamed. Are you kidding?
Listen, when you
You're an alum that
yeah, so I just found it when I saw you guys did and I think it's inspired me. Now I have a call with them tomorrow
that's awesome.
to see if there's what else we could do for them.
By the way,
we do a lot of things.
we didn't graduate from their School of Hospitality either.
No,
Right.
oh,
There you go.
I
That's
thought
the point, right?
UF.
UF undergrad, both of us, and then I did an MBA, and he did a Master's of Accounting in FIU.
And
but,
FIU.
but not hospitality.
No, but
Right.
it wasn't the school wasn't really around back then. The hospitality school, or there was like
I don't know. I mean,
Maybe
there
it was
weren't a
this
lot of schools around when we were graduating from FIU, and law and medical, but now they have everything. It's crazy. The school's blown up. I mean,
The reality is that I don't even know because I never looked into it because
Yeah.
I never considered
yeah,
a thing.
hospitality like
Being a
serious
career. Right.
And now looking back, it's like, to me, it's like I would not have chosen any other career.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was we obviously we're all Columbus grads, right? So we I was talking to Kevin Testa, who's now and we were talking about hospitality, and I almost didn't want to encourage my kids and or high school kids to get into hospitality at first because I didn't want them to go through the suffering that I went through
Right.
to get to
Right.
where I am. Like
Right.
they're smarter than that. They should grow up to be accountants and or this or that. Why do I want them to go through that? But then you look back, you're like, okay, well, there is a path forward that doesn't necessarily require, some of the dirty stuff that you have to go through along the way, all the dish pits all the way up.
Right.
Like,
I mean, I think a lot of businesses touch a lot of things, but this business touches everything, right? It's like you're in design, construction, management, accounting,
Yeah.
cooking. You know, I mean, it's you name it. It's like there's HR, there's legal.
Become an attorney later in
You
life.
become yeah. I mean, like I don't know how many contracts we've read.
Insurance expert. I mean, I don't know about you guys.
Expert, right? Risk management, and all these things, and HR don't even get us started, right? But all these challenges, but it's business, right? At the end of the day, so hospitality is a lot of different spokes on that wheel.
You got a lot of bruises, obviously, on the way up, and a lot of lessons learned. If somebody was starting out today, and they were opening up a restaurant or wanting to open up a restaurant, what's one piece of advice you would give them?
I would, what I always say, and
don't do it.
and
No.
hear mention. No, yeah, that's my first. And no,
Right.
But what I would say is, make sure before you get into opening a restaurant that you understand not just operations, but you understand how to sign a good lease, that you understand insurance, banking, PR, marketing, branding, some sort of IT, accounting, payroll. You better have some sort of understanding, or have partners or people that know those areas, because you're not going to make it. I think our industry has such a high failure rate because, what happens? It has very low entry barriers. You have a chef, or you have a front of the house guys that partners with an investor, put a little money, and they open a restaurant. And you know what happens? Most restaurants close within the first year, 3 years, etc., because they don't understand, because they sign a bad lease. They don't understand, social media, online marketing, insurance, HR, all these different things.
It's a lot. Yeah.
So there's a lot of pitfalls that you can hit along the way if you don't understand those things. Just because you can make a great meal doesn't mean that you can run a business. So before opening a restaurant, make sure that you or somebody understands sort of everything that goes with it. Yeah, everything that goes with it.
I like to categorize it into, because there's things that you enjoy doing and there's things that you don't enjoy doing. And so some of those things are fun and some of those things are not fun. Make sure you're paying attention to the unfun things, because for you, right? Because you might find social media and marketing fun and all that, and those might all fall into that bucket, but you can't ignore the unfun things. And fortunately for us, we find accounting and finance and doing pro formas and all that interesting. So, but we get into that. But the other thing I also say is,
that's not the part I find interesting, dude.
Last we have a partner.
I have a great partner. Yeah.
You guys balance each other.
No, it's phenomenal. It works out great.
I also say, and I think this kind of goes for any business, is don't fall in love with the business. In other words, before you do it, don't fall in love with it, because love leads to blindness. You're not paying attention to whether the numbers are working, whether the thing, the lease is right, whether it's on the right location. So be passionate about it, but don't necessarily fall in love, because you might be blind to things that you miss.
I'm gonna fire off some rapid questions here to see if I can just get some more nuggets of valuable info. South. I'll go one on one, but South Florida hospitality needs more what and less what?
More sunshine and less rain.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. I think more personal touches, more personal, genuine touches, experiences.
That's
right?
your sunshine? That's your sunshine?
Yeah, that's your sunshine. Sure. There you go. Thanks for tying it in for me. I think genuine personal touches that sometimes people maybe today have overlooked or think that are old school. And less gimmicks, I'm thinking purely from a restaurant experience standpoint,
I like the sunshine and rain better, to be
Yeah,
honest with you,
yeah.
man, because we have a lot of outdoor venues.
Yeah. You're right. You're true.
That would help us.
Tremendous.
Tremendous.
The last
Especially
few
these
weeks have
couple
been,
months, man. Jesus.
man, I've never hated the weather so much.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Ig, what's
I'm gonna say something similar. I'm gonna say that we need more hospitality and less glitz and and shows and stuff like that. I think we're a little behind. I think we're getting a lot better as a city, but I think there's other cities are like you could take New York as an example that has a culture of hospitality, of really taking care of their guests, going above and beyond. That I think we're getting there, but I think we could be better as a city.
influencers? Overrated or necessary?
I say yes. I think that I think influencers. I think there's a pigeonhole that people put them in sometimes where it's a no, and it's because are they saying the truth? Are they not saying the truth? This, that, the other. I find it. I find it from a different perspective for two main advantages. One, I think that, in the old days, se pasaban la voz.
Yeah,
People,
talk shit.
people would,
And
well,
talk- yeah.
well, yeah, or
Talk
talk
to-
good things, right? About, hey, I went to this
Yeah.
restaurant, whatever, and they would tell their friends, and that's how, people
I'm sorry,
went viral back then, right? Well, I hope-
I meant shit as in
yeah,
good.
shit, yeah,
Good shit.
good
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah. Sorry.
No. But yeah, that and so this is the new age pasando la voz. They're doing it now with content. So for me, it's two things. One, I think that the content that some of these influencers do is amazing, and I think it only feeds into our sort of repository of content that we could potentially use later in social media or other uses. But also, people, I always take myself, it's hard to do this. I think everybody in any industry, take yourself out of your industry for a minute, right? We live it, we breathe it every day, right? And not everybody's in that, right? So there's bankers, there's mortgage brokers, there's people in real estate and travel and whatever, and they're in their own worlds, but they're following these people that they're using for trip advice, for dining advice. And they're not drilling down as much as you think they are in terms of whether or not this is an organic post or not an organic post or whatever. I think they're just, that's really nice content. The restaurant looks really nice, and why are you smirking? So I know my friend whenever he's going to come up with a comeback or something, but it's true. Like they're in the, they're at the branch or wherever they are in the office trying to figure out where they're going to take their wife for dinner on Friday night. And they're looking at their followers, their influencers to say, hey, let's try this place out. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's a must. I like it. Anyway,
I got one for you. Robotics in the back of house. You think that's a few years out or a pipe dream?
No, I think it's happening. I think there's certain, like, McDonald's, for example, they're already using robotics in certain aspects, like with the French fries, they're testing some, robotics in the drive-through. So it's already started. I think it's a matter of time before they get more,
That's something you would do?
more perfected. I think you may be able to use it for certain repetitive tasks.
Yeah.
Maybe for dishwashing or maybe for prepping a certain item, but I would never want to use it for hospitality. I think there is something to the human interaction that's what makes the experience,
Right.
What
Agreed.
it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, agree. It's like when ChatGPT is nice to you.
Yeah.
It's neutral. You don't feel one way or the other, right?
yeah,
You don't
right,
feel one way
right.
or the other.
Yeah,
It's
that's funny.
neutral. It's
Right,
like-
right, right.
It takes a hospitality out
Yeah.
of hospitality, right? Yeah. If you had a limited budget, are you spending it on training or on marketing?
That's a tough one, man. Can I
You're
spend
telling everybody
50-50?
Yeah, like
Just cut it down the middle.
You have $500. You spending it on training. You spending it on marketing.
Yeah, so I would go with training because at the end of the day, a great or good experience is going to sell itself to a certain point, and then when you can start affording to do marketing, I would do that later. But the reality is again going back to word of mouth. I think it's your reputation. So if your service isn't on point, if your experience is on point, the food isn't on point, training I think is the most important thing.
Chef driven or brand driven?
Chef driven.
Oh,
Because that's what we do.
Right. we have some brand
you have-
driven
you have-
concepts.
We do
You
have some
have-
brands.
wait,
We
you
do.
have-
and they both have their advantages.
We do. I like chef driven because it's
It's personal.
because it's personal. They're all different.
Right.
It really revolves around the personality and
Yeah.
who the chef is and his artistic creativity with a menu. So it's really
Yeah.
up in the air, and
Yeah.
and that's what makes it exciting and fun.
What if the chef leaves?
That hasn't happened yet.
No.
Come on, what do you?
Well, no, listen, you guys have a great reputation with
No.
your team, so I guess it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But that's always
a good point.
somebody who's ponying up, a few $1 million to open up or $10 million and
Well, that's important that it's a partnership with the chef. It's
Yeah.
not just a license agreement that they have ownership, right? Because they're gonna want
That's
to.
true.
that's in
Get
your
through.
key because
Correct.
they're your true
They're
partners.
partners, right?
Yeah.
It's not just licensing fees, right?
That's amazing.
That's true.
Hey, Miami or Vegas?
Miami or Vegas? Well, we're born and raised in Miami, so we're Miami boys first. But Vegas is an amazing market as well. So definitely Miami first, but Vegas is an amazing city, and we're looking to keep growing there.
Got it. 3 decent units or 1 massive flagship?
I'll take the flagship.
Yeah. Give me one.
Flagship.
Give me a few flagships. three Bayshore clubs.
I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah, of
It
course.
takes as much
Yeah.
work to run a huge flagship than it is to run a small restaurant.
Yeah, it's like construction too. Like building a small restaurant
right.
versus a big restaurant. I mean, it's still a pain in the butt
So
God.
to build.
So we're putting all this into it.
Yeah.
We might as well make it a home run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I think I've covered all my topics. Do you have anything else you guys want to talk about or mention or say?
No, the tomahawk should be out any minute.
Oh my God. I kind of Oh man. Guys, thank you. I by the way, Beauty and the Butcher is beautiful and amazing. I'm glad. Thank you for letting us do this here. Thank you for your time.
No, thanks
I
for having
think-
us. Yeah.
I think today's conversation was great for me. There's a few things that I didn't know about you, and I know you guys pretty well. So this has been great. Thank you guys for tuning in for another edition of Industry Talks. Catch us on YouTube and on Spotify and all other podcast channels.
Nice.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.